This is Breaking MedTech. I'm Ryan. This is Cope. It's a video podcast where we help small medical device, small med tech companies grow through digital marketing and sales.
Expand their reach, be known in ways that maybe they're not doing today.
Probably not.
Right.
So today's episode, we're going to talk about something that I'm really passionate about, and I want to pick your brain because you're old. So you've been selling medical devices for 20 plus years?
Since dinosaurs roamed the planet.
The only thing that's
years.
really funny about that is, like, technically speaking, I've only been selling medical devices like 6 years less than you.
Yeah.
But in my mind, because you're older than me,
right.
I think everyone's an adult, like even people who are younger than me. So they just seem more mature. All right. So let's talk about something that I actually think you might agree with me, but if we could go like deep down inside and I had you drunk at a bar and I was like, hey, here's an idea I'm thinking about, you'd probably like old man yell at cloud at me. So virtual demos.
Yes.
Okay. Something that is completely foreign, realistically, to probably what you have done for 99% of your life.
Yes, it's antithetical to everything everyone in the industry seems to think. So yeah, and I'll be the old guy on this.
Okay.
Yeah,
you are the old guy.
It's dumb. You got to be in the room with the customer. Got to sense them. Got to feel what they're thinking. Got to understand.
And I actually, and the funny part is, like, I actually agree with that to a certain extent. It's just like, well, do you have another option, right? So here's a scenario that I think, right? So the part you're going to be arguing, or the part that you might even believe deep down inside, is like, hey, being in front of customers, if you can, is the best thing possible.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, no question. And I don't disagree with that.
Right.
But for a small medical device, med tech company, I think you have two scenarios that make that type of sales approach extremely cost prohibitive, right? Mm-hmm. So you have companies like, now 7D wasn't small at that point, but they weren't massive. But
I think they would qualify at the time as a small med device company by most people's definition. Okay. So yeah, but they weren't like,
but you physically can't take their machine anywhere. And there are a couple medical, like, table companies. I don't know how many new ones are out there, but I do know that there are some. And, there are medical device companies that you literally cannot take your physical piece.
Yeah, it's too big. It requires a truck to wheel it. It could be everything from a surgical bed, I hadn't thought of that, to a navigation system, to lighting booms and things like that in operating rooms, to emergency departments. It's funny. It's hard to do it with sort of like standard equipment, like when you think of video laryngoscopy or anesthesia machines, or in the ICU, like a lot of their monitoring, you can't just walk in and put it on the table.
Yeah, no, it's hard. It's literally, as someone who, like, you and I have spent our adult professional lives, or majority of it, like, moving heavy equipment around. Like, moving trays around is easy. Moving like a surgical bed around, like, it's not a thing. So those are like borderline impossible. Okay. So I don't really know how you demonstrate those things. I've seen how some groups do it.
Well, don't you think most companies, that's why one of the reasons conferences were so important, because they knew customers would be there, and they knew if they could get them to their booth, they could at least see the refrigerator or couch sized, whatever, like, equipment that they had, that you can't just roll to somebody's office in a city somewhere. Like, or you can't, it's just very difficult and cost prohibitive.
It's cost prohibitive. And I think it makes it really hard for small companies who carry those types of things to break into the market, because how do you get someone, you're a new company, nobody trusts you. So then you have those, and then you have maybe some of the smaller stuff. So let's say, like, you sell a new type of sports med, something that like you physically can carry and move around, and you want to show people how to do it. You can put it in your bag. Like, it's not hard to move, but every time you send a rep out for a warm lead, because you're a small company and you've chosen to have a national footprint, or even like a mid-Atlantic footprint, every time you send someone out, it's costing you $1,000, $2,000, $3,000. Like, it's not cheap. So you do 30 of those, you know, it could be $30,000, could be $60,000, could be $90,000. Like, and that's not it adds up. And if you're a small company, all you're doing is hustling to sell, like, cause you have to grow to sell. So
That's right.
It's what you have to do. And then here's the killer is like your close rate on those might not be high enough to justify the ROI. So you're maybe making enough to break even, or maybe you're coming a little bit under. And I get the idea of like, well, you're gonna have to spend money to make money. Not disagreeing with that. But that's where I look at it and go, well, do we have an option here with virtual demos? So we at least hear me on that. There's a problem.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. And I think you described, I didn't think about it this way. Two of the restrictions, part is sometimes things are just too big and it's really expensive to do it. And then sometimes the cost is in sort of the representative going out to do it. Right. And it's probably the case in the representative part in both of those, but those are physical, tactile sort of restrictions that I think a lot of us probably just have in our brain, having been in med device forever.
Yeah.
You just sort of accepted those things.
Yeah. Well, it's just like a thing like, oh, well, we got to do that. We have to do that. We have to do that. This is the way we've always done it. Like, we have to do it. So let me sell you on this. Okay. If I told you that for $2,500, 2,000 of that being upfront cost, 500 of that being recurring software costs, you could do killer virtual demos. How many groups? What would be your first question?
Well, since I'm the old guy, I'd be like, yeah, but how effective is it going to be? Can customers even, I'm assuming this is virtual, can customers even hook into it? Are they going to actually see the value? I need my people in front of them, not some video screen from across the country or something. As you can tell, I don't actually believe this.
Yeah, no.
But I'm playing the role.
Yeah.
Because I've heard other people say this, and I think they think, I think they're intrigued, and then they think, well, we should just send a rep.
Yeah.
Like, it seems to be the default, right?
So I would tell you that
$2,500.
That rep, the old man VP or old woman VP, the old VP, is right from the idea of like, if for what they're visualizing in their head as a virtual demo, they're 1,000% correct. If you just,
what are they visualizing?
They're probably just visualizing what they've seen before, which is like, I have my laptop in front of me and I'm holding it and I'm going like, look, it does this.
Right. So you're showing something on your Zoom screen and you can't really see it on camera, but if you could, it's like, yeah.
Or I've seen personally with like bigger things, like they take like a webcam, like a tiny little webcam, and they like put it on a stick, or they like put it on a webcam, and then they're like they still have their laptop and they're backed up and you can't really hear them. If you do that, you're right. It sucks. It's not going to work. Right. But what I think is, if you get creative about it and actually design something, and I'll tell you how I would do it if I was doing something big. Yeah. How I would do it if I was doing something software related or technology related. Yeah. And what I would do if I was doing something just small. Something
small and actually like physical.
Yeah, small and something physical. So I think the reason why people struggle with it is because they just think, well, like if I showed it the exact way that I showed it right now, or that we would do, or that I've seen in the past, like, well, obviously that's not going to work. And I 1,000% agree. But if you think about how other industries show physical products, and you look at that and you go like, well, what does that actually cost? What does that require? We always say this, the barrier entry is so much lower today than it was before.
Yeah, you just said $2,500.
Yeah.
That's a barrier to entry that is much lower than it was 10 years ago, 5 years ago.
So let's like hardware, right?
Yeah.
So what's a shot? So a shot that I think is super important, and like from like a tactile standpoint, what's a shot that's super important if you're doing anything that's physical? What do you want to be able to shoot?
I mean, like, yeah, downward. What's like
top down?
Yeah,
right?
like what's in my hands from some of my eyes, right? Basically.
Yeah.
So
now, most people, if I just went and asked like a random stranger in the street, like, how do you do that? They'd be like, I have no idea, and that's fine, because that's why would they?
Right.
You know who's really good at showing that type of stuff? Cooking shows. Do you know how
yeah, you're right.
Do you know how cooking shows do that? They don't have some fancy thing. It's literally, it's like a boom arm. I forget. It's
like
really,
this.
Really not. It's just a heavy duty version of it, and they literally just lay it over and shoot it down. It's and I can go find 100 YouTube videos that show exactly how to do it. The equipment, you could use your iPhone, though. I would say you just go, again, if we're going to go buy two cameras or 2 or 3 cameras, and they're going to be like $500-$600 a piece, and you're going to plug them into a device.
So there's your $2,000 you were kind of talking about.
The hard, like
roughly.
The hardware. But top down shot. All right, good. That's actually super easy to do.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Oh, I want to show multicams. Right. One shot's not going to do everything. What if I want to show me, and then I want to switch to this, and then I want to do that? You know what they make now?
I'm guessing something that makes it easy.
Like a mini board.
I don't know.
Like
sounds
think
delicious.
about like a mini, like think about when you go and you watch like NFL Sunday, and they show like the booth.
Yeah.
And they have those trucks and they have boards. They have mini boards now that you can go from camera 1 to camera 2 to camera 3 to camera 4. Costs about $100. You know who uses them all the time? YouTube streamers.
Right.
That's how they do stuff.
Right.
There's switchboards, right? Huh. And you hook into a program called OBS, which is Open Broadcast Systems.
Take it easy now.
I know.
I'm old. Remember this.
And then that basically acts as like a virtual camera that then goes into Zoom. So Zoom sees OBS coming into it. It's almost like a channel.
Yeah.
And then from there, you have 4 different, as many different camera angles that you want, and you're switching back and forth. So it's completely possible. It's actually not complicated at all, but most of these groups have no idea how to do it.
Right. And so let me play the old guy again, though.
Okay.
You're talking about how to do the video sort of demo, virtual demo. But I'm not filming this. I'm doing this live. Could I do this? I mean,
that's
I
what
can
you're
do it
doing
live.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bill O'Reilly, we're doing it live.
I'll do it live.
I'll do it live.
And
you're doing it live.
Okay. So why not just film it though?
You could film it.
Okay.
You could film it.
You could do that all with this because
you could film it and have it as a saved thing on your, on your website.
Yeah.
And have a film version.
But you're saying like you could get a client in Arizona. We're in warm, sunny Pennsylvania, and we got somebody in Arizona, different time zone, and we'd be able to send them for old people's understanding, like a Zoom link, and say, click on here, and we will demonstrate this product virtually.
Yeah.
Which I have a couple of. Okay, so I'm gonna stop being old in a little bit because there's a couple of reasons why I think this is absolutely brilliant and needs to be done. But I'm going to continue to play the old guy for a minute. So when you're saying that as approximately $2,000 to get that set up, maybe $500 per year for like the licenses for whatever.
If you're using Zoom or you're using Restream or like any of these other ones that we've talked about.
Which is, I happen to know what that is. It's like software that allows you to toggle back and forth. Okay. So that's really not much.
No. And go ahead.
No. I was going to say, I get it. Then why aren't more people? Well, I think I know why. But tell me why you think they're not doing more of this, or it's not obvious.
I don't think they don't know how. So like maybe for me, it's like really easy because I think that way.
And you were in that field for a little while too, so you have some insights.
Well, yeah, because I sold software for, and like, guess what used to be sold in person? Software. Guess what stopped being sold in person? Software. It's sold virtually, and it's a lot easier for software because I can just screen share and move my mouse around and show exactly what you want. Or like, there's a lot of different ways to do software demos that they have a much easier path to it. But it's definitely not impossible for med device. And you can go like, you can automate the process. So somebody can request a demo. It's now hooked up to a Calendly. Everything gets automated. It's super easy. You don't even have to be involved. Someone doesn't have to reach out to you. So you can just pass it, because people, guess what people don't like doing? They don't going like, hey, Mark, when can I schedule this? Oh, we can do it this way. Like sometimes, right?
But rarely.
Like people nowadays want to book stuff and do stuff on their own time. You can do LinkedIn Lives where you just do a demo every other Tuesday, and whoever wants to join can join. You can do physical products where you're actually doing demos. So let's say,
well, this is like QVS, right? So QVC, excuse me, QVC.
I like your version better though. So like let's say like physical, like the laryngoscopes we were talking about yesterday, right?
Yeah.
Where you're going to send somebody a sample. So you actually send them a sample, and they're going to physically get that sample, and then you're going to walk them through everything and show them and like go like, here's what you do, here's this. And maybe you get super fancy, right? Which is like you're sending somebody, let's say you sell sutures. Okay. You have a new
stapler or
something like that. And you send them the little that the reps take with them.
Yep.
That they show like, here's what it looks like, and like the tissue. And now you have a kit that you send to somebody. And when somebody requests a demo, it has to be like a minimum of 2 weeks out. They get it. They make the demo. You send them a kit. They get the kit. They do everything with you in real time.
Right.
And then they ship it back to you because you put a label in there and make it easy for them.
Well, so you've explained, let's say for argument's sakes, despite me being old and I have achy knees, you have convinced me that this isn't expensive.
No.
Or that complicated, right?
No.
It's doable.
1,000%.
So why would we do it?
Why would we do it? Because it qualifies people, right? So it's not that I'm not against going to sell in person.
Yeah.
I love selling. I was literally just telling you yesterday, I love selling in person. I love being in front of people. But it's not always cost effective for a small company. And you and I have been in rooms with groups that literally have said, that have like big physical products and have gone like, we can't like, that's $10,000 for us to go do a demo. It has to be the most qualified demo on planet Earth. And I get where they're coming from, because they're about to go like, they're pre-rev, low rev, whatever. And they're like, we're going to go spend 10 grand on a kind of warm lead. Yeah. Can we do it virtually? And then those were the groups who would do it virtually and they would suck at it. So like for me, it qualifies leads. So if you still have those 30 leads, and you do virtual demos and you're actually good at it, you might get 10 of them who are still interested and say, hey, can you really come out here? Or can I come to you?
Right.
And you fly them to you, or fly them to one of your sites that is using your stuff, whatever that works, however that works for you.
Yeah.
But now you're flying 10 really qualified people versus flying 30.
Flying my best salespeople.
Yeah.
To 10 warm qualified
leads
versus 30 or none.
Or none.
Or just the ones that I can, he or she can drive to, or
like,
whatever.
And like it's a weird concept for people, because again, old man salespeople are going to go like, yeah, but those 30 people, I can convince them. You can't. That's not like, maybe you're Don Draper. Maybe you're Jordan, what was it, from Wolf of Wall Street? Like, maybe you're one of those people, but like most of these companies don't have that person. Yeah. Even if their salespeople are really good, like you're just not everyone that is interested. So for me, it's an easy thing to do. You just might not know how to do it today, and you might have to sit down for a day and a half, 2 days, and go like, whiteboard it. Let's actually figure out how we can do this.
Yeah, what do we want to show? What do customers ask us? How could we show it virtually in a way
and test it out? Like, but for me, even if you spend a week on it and $2,000, right? If you're like, we're doing this, we're spending a week on it, we're going to spend $2,000. It's like a no-brainer to me.
But I'm the old person. It's not a no-brainer to these folks. But I will tell you, here's when it became a brainer for me.
It's not a thing.
A couple things. When I learned that it let me scale with my best people.
Yes.
So like I get my best people in front of more customers, some live, some virtually, but like my best people can now be in more places, right? It actually fills a gap between this person might be interested to they're really interested. And I say, let's do a virtual demo. It'll take 8 minutes. I've got my best person. We're going to show it to you. And at the end of that, if you think it's not worth your time, then we won't bug you. But if you do think it's worth your time, our next step is blank, alive, you know, in person, or you fly somewhere to whatever, right? Depending on what it is. But it sort of lets me scale my best people.
And that's a real, that is
right?
real, like, and that's a big thing. Like when you, like the software, like when I worked for the software company, there were like 2 reps who were just phenomenal. Like Harvey Specter closer from Suits, phenomenal. Okay. And you could put them on a demo with anybody.
Right.
And they would probably.
You were throwing a 95 mile an hour up and in fastball.
Randy Johnson.
You're throwing your best fastball. Yeah. That's what I want. I want those people in front of more prospective clients, and it lets me get them in front of more of them. So that's when like I started to learn, like, I know video in our pocket is going to change things. How's it going to change sales? And that's when I realized like it might let me scale our best people to more customers at a much lower price.
Well, and that would be like my thing of like, even if you were like, hey, we're going to hire someone to come in and help us with this. We're going to spend $10,000.
Yeah.
Hardware, we're going to spend a week or 2 days or whatever it is, mapping everything out, figuring it out, testing it out, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
I don't see how that's not beneficial.
No.
And you can't go like, well, it doesn't work. Like it does work. Like 7D did it. I don't know if they still do it, but 7D did it.
No, I don't think they do. But I will tell you, here's the funny unintended consequence that comes out of doing this well. You actually get more in-person meetings.
Yeah.
Because you not just get better ones, they're more qualified. You actually get more because you've made yourself more accessible to that audience. So are we
I don't know.
We're good?
We're good.
Yeah.
So
it's inexpensive.
It's inexpensive.
It lets you scale. It lets you get your best people in front of more customers, both virtually and in person.
Yeah.
And I think like that's the takeaways I've had from all this stuff. Any other takeaways we may have missed?
No, not that I could think of.
Okay. Well, this has been Breaking MedTech. Hopefully it helps some small med device companies learn how to scale themselves a little bit more in ways perhaps they hadn't thought of and get in front of more customers.
Yeah, and I would say like if anyone who literally has a question, like is like, oh, I want to do this, I want to do this. Just reach out. I will tell you what hardware to go buy.
He can tell you how to do it, and I can tell you what I've seen with it.
Like, right? So I reach out. I'll tell you what hardware to go. It's like a 5 or 6 things that you need to go buy to do it.
I like it. Did we help people today?
Hopefully.
We help small med device companies?
Yeah.
That's our goal. All right, let's do that. All right. We'll see you next time on Breaking MedTech.
Bye.